The fact that older patients do not participate in clinical trials as often as younger patients can impact many aspects of their oncologic care. First of all, clinical trials provide high level of care. Patients are monitored very carefully, they're tested carefully, they're seen at a very frequent basis, and that in of itself really elevates the level of care. But even more important than that, if the patients are not participants in clinical trials, then we have no data to treat other patients, to treat other older patients. If they make up such a small percentage of the clinical trial population, how are we going to learn how to treat older and more vulnerable patients? So it not just affects the individual's care, but the care of older patients in general, because we do not have the data to make clinically meaningful decisions. We don't have that evidence database that we need. I think when clinicians are considering clinical trials for their older patients, I think they have to not just look at their chronologic age. They have to say, how functional is this patient? Is there a clinical trial appropriate for them? Don't exclude a patient from potential clinical trial participation just because of their age. I think one of the issues about endpoints in clinical trial design, specifically for older patients, is that we have to understand that you cannot use the same endpoints that we typically use in younger patients. Of course, issues like progression-free and overall survival are very important, but there are other aspects which are very specific for older patients, but probably even more important, such as maintenance of independence, maintenance of the patients be able to function in the community, avoidance of toxicity, enhanced quality of life. These are very important for older patients. So change in function would be an endpoint. Like if a patient was in the community dwelling, taking care of themselves, independent, and if you put them on a treatment, is that going to impact that? Many older patients sometimes are more fearful of losing their independence than survival. If the therapy may impact on their functionality, and even more important, if a therapy may impact their cognition, an older patient may be less willing to participate. And this is one of the great fears of treatment, this potential toxicity. So again, when you design a clinical trial, these are the kind of endpoints you have to consider: functionality, cognitive impairment, maintenance of independence. These are all very important factors, and it would make the trial more appealing to the older cancer patient. There are a number of clinical trials now with less toxic therapy, with endpoints that are appropriate for older patients, that can make a major impact on that individual patient's life, and at the same time add to the database of knowledge for all older patients with cancer. Until clinicians encourage participation of clinical trials and encourage their patients to go on these studies, we'll never have the information we need to treat older patients with cancer.